Hey there, and welcome to my channel. My name is Dr. Jessica, and today's video is a little bit different because I wanted to share more of my personal story about why stress management is so important to me and what happened when I got really stressed during my residency and how my body fell apart, my mind fell apart. So if you're interested in learning about me and my journey with chronic stress, then keep on watching. It's a doozy. So as I've mentioned before, I'm a naturopathic doctor, acupuncturist, and now also a health coach as well. I have a private practice or part of a group practice in Seattle where I see clients in office, and I did my residency at this same location. So let me backtrack and say that naturopathic medical school, along with doing acupuncture and Chinese herbs, was a 5.5-year program. It was pretty intense, pretty stressful, but I was able to get through that without much of a problem. Before that, I used to actually work in finance, so I'm used to kind of a stressful environment, but for some reason, getting through school was kind of just the end point for me. But then I went on to residency, and I thought it would be easy. I thought the hard part was over, but woo, did my body and mind have something else to say about that? Well, I got the residency of my choice. Residencies for us is pretty competitive because there are not a lot of spots. But I got the residency of my choice. I do in office a lot of pain management and sports medicine. And when I got to my residency, my boss, love him so much, but like very exacting, very demanding, very high standards. And I had no idea just like that being an actual doctor and being actually responsible for patients, not being a student anymore, was going to be so difficult. So navigating insurance, basically as a naturopathic doctor in a group practice, you're running your own business at the same time. As a resident, you're on the bottom of the totem pole. You're doing everything. At first it was okay, but eventually the stress got to me. So I actually ended up gaining a bunch of weight. I ended up feeling lots of anxiety and some depression, and just feeling really burned out and just exhausted all the time. I'll insert some pictures. So I gained some weight here. Also, I ended up developing this horrible rash all over my face and neck. I'll, again, insert some pictures. Ended up going to the dermatologist, skin testing, patch testing, steroids. It was a mess. The steroids made me gain even more weight, made me feel worse. And eventually I kind of got to the point where I knew it was stress related. I was denying it, but I knew it was. I knew I was incredibly stressed out. And I got to the point where I was like, maybe I should kind of practice what I preach and maybe do some of the things I'm telling some of my patients to do. So after seeing that I wasn't getting any help with kind of conventional medicine, I just wanted to take a pill and have it go away, to be completely honest. That didn't work. But I eventually kind of became the guinea pig of what later became the program that I have now, the Better Health Blueprint, because it was eye-opening to be on the other end. I had been through stress. I worked in finance, for God's sakes. Like, that's stressful. I went to an Ivy League institution where I studied there. That was hard. And then I went through, at Bastyr, went through that 5-year crazy program, and that was fine. And then to get to residency and then have it all kind of fall apart was new for me. So I decided to actually use the principles that I had learned about, surprise, surprise, and actually develop a step-by-step kind of program for myself. It was head to toe. I knew I had to work with my mindset more than anything. It was a lot of mental approach that I needed to take. I ended up going back to my roots of like yoga and meditation and mindfulness, because I knew I had to change my thought pattern. That was really helpful. I also knew I needed to clean up my diet. I was eating like crap, if I was eating at all. Sometimes I wasn't even eating lunch, and I would come home and binge and, have a glass of wine or two and try to forget about the day, to be completely honest. So I needed to work with my nutrition. I was moving and running around like crazy at the office, but I wasn't exercising anymore. And I just knew I had to look at each one of these aspects and really start to change what I was doing. I had to actually prioritize my health, which, you know, I know all about now when it comes to making those recommendations for others. So yeah, so that's how kind of Better Health Blueprint was born. I was the guinea pig. Obviously my skin eventually cleared up. I eventually lost the weight and decided that, you know, it was a learning opportunity, and a chance for me to share that with other people because, you know, fast forward a few years later when COVID hit, right? We had the same thing. People were stressed out to the max. And I was like, oh, I can use what I did there and use that here and kind of teach people. So that's kind of how it was all born. That's kind of my story with stress. And I think more importantly for me, when I felt that way, I felt like I was out of control. I felt like I was unable to like reach my goals. Like here I was, like had gone through all this and gone through school and degrees and career changes only to get there and then like feel like I was bottoming out. So I know what it's like to not be able to like reach your goals, to not be able to think, to be gaining weight, and to just feel like you're literally losing your shit. Sorry, but so that's, I think, one of the reasons why it's so important to me to share that transformation and to also, you know, say that there is a way out of it. So, and there is something you can do. You can take back control, but you have to do the work. You do have to prioritize yourself. And I'm not saying it's easy. You know, we're so conditioned just to kind of do what we want when we want to, you know, come home, say I don't have time to eat, or say I don't have time to cook and just eat junk. But, you know, taking that next necessary step to maybe prep a meal or something, you know, takes a little bit of extra time, but you have to be willing to prioritize yourself and know that it's really important for your health. Clinically, I see on the other end what happens when you continuously are under chronic stress. It will manifest one way or another, I promise you. Whether you get an explosive rash on your face or whether you end up with hypertension or just like being forced to take a medical leave. I really, what I hope is, and what I want for people is to be able to feel like they're in control of what they can control, and they feel like they have a plan, and they feel like they have some support and some guidance. And so again, that's why I created the Better Health Blueprint as a method of walking you through stress management, kind of literally head to toe, exactly what I did, looking at the different kind of aspects of your lifestyle and your diet, or your nutrition, I should say, and then looking deeper with, you know, using labs. Like I ran labs on myself to look at them and to say, oh yeah, this is, most of the time it was confirming things I already knew. So that's why I created the program. If you want to learn more about it, you can check out my free webinar, or you can click the link to the Better Health Blueprint page. If you want to learn more about it, we can schedule a call with me where we'll talk through it. I'll really just listen to what you're going through and see if the program is a good fit to help you. And if nothing else, I am a listening ear or a friendly ear to hear what you're going through and can make some recommendations even if the program is not a good fit for you. I hope this was helpful in sharing this. I feel like more people need to know that, you know, chronic stress is real and it will mess you up. And if you don't do something about it, but there are solutions and there are people out there that can help, and there are methods to help, but like you do have to do the work. So if you have any questions, leave a comment below. Be sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you can know when I post a new video next week. And otherwise, I will see you in the next video, or maybe inside my program. All right, bye.